Beautiful. All right. So, everybody, all of you wonderful IN8 Summit human beings and attendees out there, we are super lucky, we are super privileged, and I'm pretty damn excited to have this interview with the rock star, Dr. Brett Jones. Welcome, mate, coming to us from Tucson, Arizona. Welcome to the IN8 Summit webinar.
Woo, 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 woo. I'm excited, man. Yeah, I'm ready to go back to Australia. It's been 6 years now. And so, man, I'm just
6 years since you last.
Stoked. Yeah, last time I was there, I was in Brisbane, I believe it was. And yeah, it's time to get back and to connect. I met some beautiful chiropractors last time. I love what Australia has to offer with chiropractic, and stoked to bring whatever I can to hopefully inspire and continue to evolve this beautiful craft that we love.
Love that. And I was mentioning before off air that, you know, what is awesome about you, and if some of you older chiros out there or more experienced chiros that might not be in the world of Instagram, Facebook, social media, Dr. Brett Jones is a rock star. He's really, you'll see him when he talks, he oozes the philosophy of chiropractic. He knows deep in the healing journey of expressing innate. That's pretty much all that you speak. Is that true? Not all that you speak, but a big part of what you speak.
Yeah, I mean, the chiropractic philosophy saved my life, you know, in so many ways, which is, you know, I'll give you a little bit of origin story. You know, my brother passed in '99, and when my older brother passed, we lost faith and lost religion. And at the time, you know, we were Christian folk. And for the longest time, I felt like I was searching for something in a deeper connection to God or to spirit, but just couldn't identify with the religions I was coming into contact with. And I put so much effort into trying to be healthier with my body and putting that all into football, getting a scholarship to go play in college. And I found like, you know, with every success, there was always a void. And it was actually chiropractic philosophy that ended up filling that void when I made my journey to Life Chiropractic College West, journeying potential different chiropractic schools that I wanted to attend. And as I was on that journey, I didn't know that chiropractic even had a philosophy. But here I am at Life West, and this is back in 2009. And I'm looking for a chiropractic school to attend, and I come upon this student, Ben Glass, and he has this book called Chiropractic Revealed. And he said, "You got to read it, bro." And I said, "What do you mean I got to read it?" He's all, "It's an interview with the top 20 chiropractic philosophers of all time." I said, "Chiropractic has a philosophy?" And he said, "Yeah." And so I'm reading this book on the way home, and it changed my life, man. And it let me know that this God that I'd been angry at, we can call universal intelligence, and that universal intelligence is part of us as an innate wisdom, as an innate power, as an innate intelligence. And I had to stop pointing the fingers outside of myself and start looking within myself. And that really kicked off my healing journey. And since then, you know, I read as many green books as I can get my hands on. Before the time I graduated chiropractic school, I'd read 93 chiropractic books or chiropractic related books. And so I got dipped, so to say, and the rest is history. And I've just continued to build on that strong foundation of the philosophy of chiropractic and trying to share it with as many people as possible.
Bro, I love that so much. And what I love most about that is the fact that, you know, you had to find your own journey. And there's, in this day and age, we hear a lot of people say that, you know, the chiropractic colleges, even, you know, Life West or Life College, you know, one of the best colleges in the world in regards to chiropractic, you'd hear. But, you know, even the fact that you've managed to find your journey and you found the philosophy, whereas a lot of the older chiros are saying, man, why aren't these students getting it? Why aren't the new graduates getting the philosophy? And the fact that you ooze it and you speak it and you read the books, man, it's just a huge testament to yourself for going that extra mile. And tell us, so from that, obviously you've been involved with other things. You mentioned Kairos to me before, which is a bit of adjusting, the value of the art of the adjustment. Maybe can you touch base on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, so, you know, I went into school already reading the books, right? Already being dipped in the philosophy and hearing the amazing testimonies of chiropractic healing, you know, reading about what was happening at, you know, the B.J. Palmer Research Clinic and Clearview Sanitarium, where they were getting a lot of the people with mental illness well, and reading all these things. And then I get into the clinic at school, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Because the truth of it was, even though I was at a principled school, right, a philosophical-based school, so they say, the clients they were attracting, again, was your typical neck pain, back pain, and headaches, and it was symptom-based care, and it wasn't healing-based care. And so I'm looking at the curriculum and I'm saying, okay, well, we got philosophy. People are learning some philosophy. We had a philosophy 1, 2, 3, 4 course, and one of the first books we read was the chiropractic textbook by Stevenson. And we had Sean Dill as a teacher, who I think is an incredible job teaching that. We had plenty of fucking science, but then when I looked at it, I said, what's lacking? It's really the art. I was an athlete my entire life, still in. And what I saw was, like, when we would enter these technique classes, there was not the training that I would expect for delivering adjustments at a high level. I imagine most are familiar with this, but when you go into a diversified 1, 2, and even fucking Gonstead class, or even upper cervical class, a lot of it was posology. Meaning that I'm going to get in a position that I would adjust you, then I'm going to say what I would do. Oh, I'm going to deliver a force, P to A, I to S, L to M, through the plane line of the disc with clockwise torque, right? But nobody was actually practicing the skill. So I've been an athlete all my life, and I knew that if I want to get better at a 40-yard dash, there was things that I needed to do to accelerate that 40-yard dash. If I wanted to have a higher level of bench press, there was things I needed to do that. So I started doing interviews my first quarter in chiropractic school, interviewing who were considered some of the greats in chiropractic artistry. My first one was Dr. Arnaud Bernier. I also interviewed Dr. Jay Comerick, Dr. Katina Manning, Dr. Ian Davis Tremaine,
Wow.
Dr. Lila Wolf. Like, I had quite the laundry list of really awesome adjusters and technique people, if you will. And I asked them, what are the qualities that it takes to become a really good chiropractic adjuster? That's what I was interested in. Because, again, I looked at the curriculum. I'm getting enough philosophy. I'm getting plenty of science. It looked like the art was missing. And then from there, I developed some attributes. And so what came in was, like, you need a level of speed, power, presence, balance, focus. And so after I labeled some of these attributes, I said, well, I'll create the training program for that, right? So, and then I started looking at, okay, what's that adjustment supposed to look like? What muscles need to be used? How do you get in a sustainable position? How do you deliver power? And then I just started doing these training sessions in the gym where I'd be doing that. I'd be training with a medicine ball. I'd be doing one-legged hops. I'd be getting in side posture positions, going to the drop table room, all of it, until after time, it created a following. And then we started basically a training group where you had to meet at 6 in the morning, underground, guerrilla style. Couldn't be late. If you were late or you missed, you were out. And so I just developed this high level of integrity, and we continued it. And by the time I had left, I trained a third of the school. And so I'm like, well, shit, maybe it's me, right? I don't know. Like, maybe it was people were distracted because I was a crazy person training chiropractic in the morning 5 days a week and like 3 times in the evenings. And so I thought, oh, maybe the group's going to stop when I leave, but it didn't. It grew. And so when I left, there was 2 groups growing with like 70 students attending, and then it just continued to grow. And then people wanted it to go elsewhere, and so we figured out how to do a seminar for it, how to create clubs in other schools so that they could be training. It started as something called Adjusting Ninjas, basically back in 2011, and then it turned into Kairos training culture. And now, fast forward, basically 12 years later, we've trained around 5,500 chiropractors and chiropractic students around the world in these different level camps, and now we're expanding
Let me cut you off there, bro, because from that, in regards to that, a lot of information, but you just smashed it out of the park. Just to kind of give it some credit. 5,500 chiropractors around the country in the US. I know there's 75,000 or 70,000 chiros over there, but just to kind of put it into perspective, we've got roughly 45 to 4,800 chiropractors in Australia. So pretty much the amount of training you've done on those people is more than all the chiros in Australia that are currently practicing right now, which is pretty damn awesome. And for a young guy, what I love most about what you've been saying so far is, the words that you've used for me right now, the word integrity, philosophy, even the fact that the guerrilla underground kind of rogue rebelness that you had to do to kind of create a spark and create a movement. Mate, you're a testament to what is the future of our profession, and it's exciting with the fact that you can kind of hang on that philosophy and you've really got that certainty in your conviction, which I love to bits to hear that. So tell us more about in regards to coming to the IN8 Summit and actually getting a chance to speak about that side of things. What are some of the pearls you can help us, I suppose, drip feed into some of our attendees this year, you reckon, in May?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, one of the main attributes that's been developed from all of the training, because that's what it's been. We've created a lifestyle around it, because to me, chiropractic isn't a role you play. It's a life you fucking live. And when we consider ourselves, the chiropractic athlete or the chiropractic artist or the chiropractic philosopher or the chiropractic scientist or the chiropractic business person, they're all integrated. And to me, it just becomes a way of life. I raise my kids in the chiropractic way of life. Every way I interact, no matter where I go, I'm a chiropractor. I don't put a chiropractor hat on and take it off. And so for that, in all of the training and all of the movement, breath work, and meditation sessions I've done every freaking morning for the last 7 years, what's come through that is a level of certainty, right? I feel like certainty needs to be earned. And when we can develop a level of competency, proficiency, and certainty, it changes the game for us in practice. And I do think certainty is contagious. Right. And so when you're around a field and you're in proximity of those that are certain in a healing process, and that's something big I picked up going to Dynamic Essentials seminars. So when I was in chiropractic school, I never missed a Dynamic Essentials seminar, I think for 3 years, and they're 4 times a year. And that was something created by Dr. Sidney Williams, also called the Defender of Chiropractic. And that was the biggest thing that I noticed when I went to those seminars. People on stage not speaking from PowerPoints, but speaking from their heart, with the level of certainty. And my biggest question for myself when I was observing that, especially as a student, because I didn't have it, I didn't have the experience, I hadn't seen the testimony yet, is how do you develop that? When did something click for you? And for me, it clicked in service, and it actually clicked in service with my dad. I remember I was really a third course. This is the first. There's levels of certainty, but I would say one of the first levels of certainty of me understanding a deeper level of chiropractic beyond pain and symptoms was I was about to go on a mission trip to El Salvador. And before I went there, I was going to school at Life West, which is in the Bay Area, which is Northern California, and my dad lived in Southern California. So I went to go see him first, and then I was going to fly out of LA to go to El Salvador. And so I stopped to see him, and my dad did have back pain, right? He had a failed back surgery, and I believe he was a catalyst, part of the catalyst of me coming to chiropractic school. But on top of my dad having the failed back surgery, he was on a lot of medication. Right, so I remember he was on 7 different medications. He was on gabapentin, he was on Soma, which is a muscle relaxer, a few different pain pills, and a few other things, man. And I just remember being away at school and trying to talk to my dad and be like, yo, that's not my dad. There was a gap, there was fuzz, there was static, right? There was shit in the way. And I remember going back, and even though he was in pain, after I adjusted him, I looked into his eyes. Because for me, the biggest thing, right, is I wanted to see, did I have my dad back? That was it, man. And so I feel like that was the start of the heart path, of chiropractic, of really wanting to bring people back into the present version of themselves, bringing them to the ideal version of themselves. And throughout my journey now, again, 12 years now past that, there's been multiple experiences that have continued to deepen my certainty in what chiropractic is possible of. And that's been a major transformer in my practice of seeing healing results. Because I think that's what we really fucking want. You can speak philosophy all you want, but if you can't express the philosophy through your artistry and then be able to communicate it with science and back it up, what the fuck does it matter? Right? It's just all this ideation and philosophical jerk off. To me, it doesn't matter if you can't actually demonstrate it and reproduce it and actually get the healing results in the practice. So what I'm most excited to bring to the IN8 Summit is to showcase, one, that level of certainty, hopefully a level of excellence that's inspiring. And again, I'm still on the path. I'm always going to be on the path and hopefully always getting better every single freaking day. But I do think some things have been achieved at this moment and at this present time that will be inspiring, and I pray that there's ripple effects from that presence, from that proximity, from that power that spreads to Australia, throughout Australia, and really throughout this fucking whole planet, because people fucking need it more than ever, man. With the rapid onset and excel of technology, people are losing their human faster than ever. And so I believe the chiropractor is here to reconnect people back to their human, back to why we're here.
Well, it's cool. What's really cool about all you've said so far, there's been some parallels where, once again, I'm going to keep saying it, it's exciting to have you on our stage. And yes, certainty and excellence are one of those things that you've been promoting, and you understand, you can feel that when you kind of through a webinar like this, when you're on stage, when you see it through your socials, you do definitely ooze those two things. But just two parallels that I found quite interesting is I used to coach back in the day with Sigafus, and I was one of the lucky ones to be able to be speaking with Sigafus on a weekly basis for 3 or 4 years when I was living in Italy. And he used to pretty much say on a regular occasion to me, Sam, where the hell are all of the sick people gone? Like, for crying out loud, why the hell are us chiropractors still focused on the back pain, the neck pain stuff? We should be in there, like, literally seeing the people that have got the cancers and that have got the ulcerative colitis and they've got all these crazy Crohn's diseases and all this kind of, whether it could be Bell's palsy right through to frozen shoulders I've seen on your recent pages. Like, whereabouts are these people that are the medical miracles? They should be in our practices, but yet we are settling for second best. And then he'd often give me a slap in the face and say, Sam, if you think you're doing enough, go to hospital and go and hang out and just watch a sick ward room and think, man, imagine what those people would be doing if they were getting adjusted right now rather than spending time with those kind of people. So I totally get it. When you have that certainty and you get a chance to literally kind of dip in and think, you know what, get on my table, I'm going to adjust you and deliver a life-changing adjustment for you, and just see that spark come back, see that flow come back, which, mate, I love hearing that from you. So I'm excited about seeing and being involved with your essence and your certainty on stage and getting a chance to hang out with you and have a chat. So with that, tell me in regards to some of the levels of your success stories, and I suppose your successes and your triumphs as well as your failures in this 12 years. I'm guessing there must have been some ups and downs for sure, right?
For sure, and I'm glad you mentioned Sigafus. I was with Sigafus in 2013 at one of his gatherings, and just an incredible human being. I miss him. I'm grateful for Sig Talks, and what an amazing attribute and contribution to chiropractic with Dr. Jim Sigafus. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought him up, man. I'm so grateful for the legends. Like, I wouldn't be anywhere I'm at today without Sigafus, without Reggie Gold, without Dr. Sidney Williams, without Arnold Bernier, without just so many legends that came before, both living and non-living. So God bless them and thank them and allow us to continue to live in their spirit. Yeah, in regards to ups and downs, yeah, I mean, there's been a variety. You know, this, again, some of you may not be aware, maybe never fucking seen my face before, but when I came into the scene, I started doing adjusting seminars right out of school, right? And so because I was leading a group basically for 2+ years while I was in school, and the beauty of it was there was never a gap in the education, meaning that we were leading people to training from having no skill, right? So if you're coming in fresh, baby in chiropractic, how do you start training the different pieces of it? And I think that was our greatest advantage. But, you know, from the outside looking in, I took a lot of shit. At least in the U.S., I was the most hated chiropractor for at least 5 years. Like, nobody liked to talk more shit about me. You know, like, it was just, I was the one that took it all, man. I took all the fucking arrows and, oh, you're too fucking young. And, or what, like, what's this fucking hats that you wear? What's this music that you're playing? You know, I was one of the first people to post adjusting multiple people just to music, you know, on YouTube. At the time, people were doing like very
cool.
clinical, you know, whatever. And I was like, chiropractic's an art.
I'm a doctor.
Like,
I'm going to help you.
You know, exactly. And they're like, if we're not explaining what's happening, then, you know. And so I was definitely outside the box, and people love to fucking hate on me and whatever. It made me better. It made me stronger. It made me wiser. So I think, you know, through that, like, I've had my ups and downs with chiropractic in general. Like, does chiropractic even want me? You know, I've questioned that multiple times. And I'm glad I stayed around and took those waves and took those hits. In 2018, I made a post with evidence that our osteoarthritis is reversible, right? Meaning that degenerative disc disease is reversible. And I had x-rays. I had a person that was a quadriplegic that had massive degeneration, and we saw on film and, you know, in, you know, whatever else that was happening. And I almost got my license taken away for that. And I had DAC bars coming after me saying it was bullshit. I had people saying that, you know, it was fake films and all this shit. And so I've had controversy. I've had people doubt what we were able to do. But I'll tell you right fucking now, it is reversible.
Yeah, totally.
And I'll put my license on.
Man, I love that shit, man. And what I want to, there's so many parallels because we've only got a half an hour, 45-minute chat with you. So that's why it's going to be so good to have you at the IN8 Summit this year to kind of really kind of chew the fat and get deep into some philosophy and get deep into some chats. But I would say to most of my clients that come in, can you reverse degeneration? Can you kind of see some changes in my x-rays at some stage? And my common response is any chiro that's got more than 10 years experience should see mountains of x-rays that have seen a reversal, or if they haven't had a post x-ray, you can just feel their spine is definitely getting younger. So if you're actually not going to prove it through black and white imagery, at least you can know that human being 10 years ago is much better off now with years of adjustments than not. So I love that. And one more cool thing, I thought just kind of you gave a salute and a highlight to Sigafus and Sid Williams and Anya Brunier and also some of the big names, Reggie Gold. Same thing. The best thing about this profession is that it's evolution. The principle has stood the test of time, and as a really nice expression, which good old famous quote about, you never know how far-reaching things you think so to do are going to affect the lives of millions tomorrow. How's this for a nice little parallel? You learnt your stuff from DE, right? So you're saying that 93 books you've read, you went to multiple DEs every twice a year for 3 years, I think you mentioned, and then what's cool about that is then I went to Chiro Europe, and Mark Hudson, who pretty much is convener of Chiro Europe, over a 10-year period went to DE and learnt off the Sid Williams and learnt off all the guys on stage, and then pretty much brought the biggest seminar in Europe, and probably, if not one of the biggest in the world, to Europe in Spain. And now they have 800, 900 strong. There's a massive philosophy and a vibe that's kind of the DE vibe from Europe. And then I went there for 4 or 5 years, or for 5 years, and pretty much said, Mark, we need this energy, we need this vibe in Australia. So the IN8 Summit is literally the little brother of Chiro Europe, which is the little brother of DE. And now you're getting a chance to come all the way out. I'm getting goosebumps just mentioning the story, saying that, man, you heard this many years ago, and then now the fact you're coming out to our stage to basically pass that energy on that you learned back in DE. So I'm excited about seeing where the universe is going to take this and what's possible for us in the future, because that's a pretty cool loop.
Mm-hmm. Amen. And the truth of the matter is, there's definitely a portion of chiropractic that feels like this is antiquated. But I'll tell you what, a principle is a fucking principle is a fucking principle. I mean, the principles don't change. The times might change, but the principle don't change. And that's why something like the energy and the spirit of DE will always live on, because it was based on principle. We have 33 of them, right? And if you listen to Dr. Marvin Tosky, he's added some other principles to it based on his work in tonal, who's also one of my greatest mentors. And so, yes, the principles are ever going to last. And the truth of the matter is, I think we're actually going to see a massive boom in the vitalistic chiropractor. Because the truth is, a lot of people, right, and this is what happened, the quote-unquote evidence-based, which to me means medical bitch. I'll say it. I'll claim it. Right? Because they say in evidence-based, but the truth is, when they're quoting evidence-based, they're saying medical science. Because chiropractic has a science. They don't want to look at what's coming out of Australian Spinal Research Foundation. They don't want to look at what's coming out of the Heidi Havoc Institute. They don't want to look at the actual chiropractic research or what was written in the green books with clinical research. They want to be medical bitches. And the problem with that is they're actually going to lead to their own demise, because people don't want that. If anything, COVID showed us is what a fucking scam and sham the whole medical paradigm is, and how corrupt it is. And so now people are looking for the alternative. You know, when people are excited to get to my practice knowing that we're not in that paradigm, they fucking love it. And this is the big thing. If I could accomplish one thing in this fucking lifetime, is to see this. There's a perception right now that, and there's evidence, right? There's evidence that Western medicine is number one in quote-unquote healthcare, right? It's number one in sick care. But there's a perception that it's always going to be. And if you are a chiropractor operating under the perception that Western medicine is always going to be number one in healthcare, and you're in the wrong fucking profession. I'm sorry, but I didn't come here to play second fiddle, right? I'm here to help see chiropractors take the fuck over and be at the right place as the shepherds of humanity and connecting back to their internal wisdom and power and be number one in healthcare, because that's what we do. A true chiropractor lives the chiropractor lifestyle connected to the principles of nature. And we are of nature. And so we need to claim our birthright as number one in healthcare and see medicine reach its own demise. By the way, if you look at all the shit that's happening with artificial intelligence, there's not going to be a medical doctor very soon. It's going to be ran by robots.
No.
Robots will be better at predicting, because again, that whole system is based on give you a diagnosis based on your symptoms, and then based on the diagnosis, give you medicine. The human is going to make a lot of fucking mistakes in that. AI is going to be better at computing that information and then prescribing those pills. So the medical doctor is already fucking done within 5 years just based on the artificial intelligence that's happening. So when you want the actual human interaction and actual healthcare in relationship to nature, it's going to be the fucking chiropractor. We deserve to be number one. It's time to start acting like it.
Boom. Amen.
All right, I think we're good, huh?
Can't say anymore. I think we're real good. I reckon we can definitely finish that bad boy.
Let's bring the fucking firepower. Let's have a party. Let's have some fun. Let's get it. All right.
Man, I love that. Bro, I can't wait to have you on stage, man. I can't say any more than that. That's a great way to wrap this video up. And thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you for being out here. Quick little wrap up. I know that you're going to be here for the IN8 Summit, which is going to be at the end of May. But then I know you're doing a follow-up weekend. I know you are doing a Kairos adjusting session, I believe, as well as a breathwork session all the weekend after the IN8 Summit. So I'll make sure we put all those links in this video, or make sure I put all those the connections to that. You are going to be a huge asset to you already are a massive asset to our industry. As you said, what is a principle is a principle is a principle, and you ooze that principle, mate. So your energy is going to be around for many, many years, and I freaking can't wait to fucking have you on our stage. So love you, bro. I will see you soon. I'll give you a cuddle when I catch up with you for the first time in Kingscliff, which is just south of the border. But we're going to have some fun.
Thank you for having me on.
See you soon, bro. That one?